Today, here at the Rockpit, I'm joined by Ashley and Ian from the church, who are just about to embark on not only their own tour, but to become a part of the Red Hot Summer Tour this year, which Crowded House is headlining. Now, for you guys, obviously, Ash, you're a fairly recent recruit to the church with 5 years in the band now. And Ian, your tenure's been a bit longer, since 2013. How is it performing these songs with Steve?
You go, Ashley.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you should go first, Ian, because you've been doing it longer than I have. But I got to say, it's an absolute thrill. Like, I
Yeah.
think Ian and I are pretty much the same age, we're only 10 days apart, and we were so having. I think we had our church epiphany around the same time, the mid '80s, early '80s to late '80s. So to get to play these songs with Steve and hearing his voice coming out of the PA and his bass pounding through the room is it's a thrill. And
It really is. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
it's been a thrill. And I'll hand over to Ian at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ashley and I were having parallel universes, right? About the same time when we were teenagers, we were learning a lot of these songs to learn how to actually play guitar. So to actually be doing it now, it's often quite surreal. But I mean, since I've joined, um, I we were always making new material, and since Ashley's joined, we were making new material too. So it's sort of, so at the Red Hot Summer, it won't be just the singles; it'll be a sort of a combination. So and you know, it's the church. No one, there's no what would you call it, manifesto, but I think we've all got it sort of under our skin, sort of what it means and what it sounds like, and so it's very natural for all of us, and Jeffrey too, the the only American in the band, and the sort of very important integral part of the whole thing to the sound. And I don't know, I think we all sort of turn each other on musically, and so it is a thrill, as Ashley said, to play these tunes and new tunes. It's fantastic.
I caught last year's the Almost Yesterday tour, where you focused on the first three albums, and my God, what a show that was! Diving right into those deep cuts, the album tracks, and as you say, you spent your time in the '80s learning these songs. Were there songs that you were particularly excited to play from that run of shows?
um I don't know, personally, I was excited to play the ones that we hadn't done before when I was in the band, like things like She Never Said and all these sort of weirder sort of songs potentially that, sort of you've heard them and they've been a part of your psyche.
Yeah.
And yeah, to hear us playing them back, it is quite a trip, really, because I think when I went and saw the church later on in their career, um, playing a lot of these songs, they'd kind of, when Marty and Peter were in the band, they'd kind of, I guess they'd gotten sick of the original versions, and there's been a bit of a Chinese whispers going on, and so it had strayed a long way away from the originals. And so now I think we try to be sort of more faithful to what the original is, rather than trying to reinvent them. And yeah, it's a challenge to you know make everyone happy that knows the song so well, but I don't know, it's never a challenge for us to enjoy it. It's like it's yeah, it's great fun.
So how's the set for these Red Hot Summer shows going to look? I mean, you've mentioned it's a step away from the other tour that you're doing. There'll be deeper cuts and probably not all the singles in there. Um, has it been a bit of a conscious effort, and have you all come to the table and sort of said, look, I think we should add this to the list?
I guess the Red Hot Summer tour, I think we're on stage for 50 minutes or something, whereas normally when we play, we're on stage for 2.5 hours. So it's kind of it's a, um, it's, it's hard to do a cross section of the whole, life of the band.
Mm.
So obviously there's certain songs that people need to hear, and then I don't know, we haven't written the set yet. but it's not the problem is, you know, not if we can play them, which songs we can play. It's like what ones we're happy to leave out. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's tricky because it's limited time.
and I guess in all of that, I mean, since that almost yesterday tour, there's certainly been a large resurgence in I think interest in the church again, and you know, seeing those first few records back out on vinyl again for the first time since the initial release has sort of stirred some memories. And I have to say, with that tour, it was really interesting just to sit back and watch the crowd as well. You know, how engaged people were and how varied, I guess, the ages of the audience were. Do you think that, you know, with a songbook like the church has, that it's now transcending generations? You know,
It definitely is. Like there's people bringing their kids to, you know, we see it quite often, and we sort of say to the kids, look, have they made you come? And they're there of their own volition, so it's good. Like younger generation coming. We don't want our all our audience to die. You know, it's like we want the young blood.
exactly. And if I'm correct, there's new music on the way too from the church. Will we hear anything at these Red Hot Summer shows?
Ashley, what do you reckon?
I reckon it's most likely because we'll have a single out by then. And like Ian said, there has to be a cross section of material. We have to represent the current configuration of the band. Because for a lot of people, it could be the first time they've seen the band. So it might be a chance just to sort of present this new configuration and not completely trade on the heritage of the band.
Yeah, I would say it's a definite that we'll do one, like new one by then, and we don't know which one it'll be yet, but yeah.
So there is a whole new album done and good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. So
full album.
yes. So I mean, looking at that, I mean, when you reflect on new music, the collaboration and the writing of the album, how was that all slotted together for you guys?
You go.
I reckon it's been pretty natural. I mean, Ian's been doing it longer than I have with this band, but my first time playing with the church was at a recording session, and it was all new material, and we're just trying new ideas. We didn't run through any old songs, we didn't rehearse anything, because at that point in November 2019, we thought there'd be tours in the middle of 2020, and we would rehearse for those later. But so we made the backing tracks for the Hypnagogue in that period. So my first encounter with the band was in a collaborative environment where everyone was contributing chords or beats or lyrics, or obviously Steve was writing lyrics on the fly and singing rough melodies, but we'd have all these sort of jams that were honed down into set pieces, and some songs were more concise than others. But I think it's just an openly collaborative band, and it's very fertile in that regard, because you might have one idea or 10 ideas, but they all seem to get tried, and some of them fly, some of them don't. But Ian might be able to elaborate a bit more on it.
No, I totally agree. No one gets shouted down when someone starts with an idea. It could. I mean, look, we're not going to start making reggae music or something. It's just not the band that will do that. But it's like there's kind of, I guess there are parameters, but none of us are going to. Maybe if someone did want to do a reggae song, we would, but no one has. But I don't know. And I had a similar experience, but the first time I played with the band was when Further Deeper came about, and that was in 2013 to 14 sort of thing, in the sessions for that. So I wasn't playing any existing material; it was all playing just new material. So I don't know. It's never been difficult. Like there was never any, like I said, there was never any manifesto. There's no rules, and Steve isn't like a overlord tyrant type. I don't know. It's just very fluid.
And I guess over the years, when you look at both of your backgrounds and your histories, the other bands that are on this Red Hot Summer lineup, have they influenced or do you have fond memories of those particular artists yourselves, or moments in time for those artists?
Yeah, I mean, Powderfinger played with Crowded House at their farewell in 1996, I think it was, at the Opera House. So that was, they asked us to do that, and it was amazing. But the most amazing and annoying thing about it was that we didn't actually get to see them because it was postponed by a day because of weather. And we had a show in Byron Bay that we were contracted to do, and they said that they would sue us for loss of revenue if we didn't go and do that as well. So we had to play early and then bugger off to Byron, which is a bummer. Had to, the record company organised a plane and we had to fly in a storm, and it was like full. Everyone was singing, Leonard Skinner songs on the plane. It was it was pretty scary, but it's so we met those guys way back then, and then Neil Finn would come to Powderfinger gigs every now and then. So I wouldn't say he's a friend, but we all got along really well. A good, lovely guy, acquaintance. So yeah, excited to catch up with him again, and love that band. I love the Waifs. Waifs are an amazing band. Incredible guitarist.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And Ash, for you, do you have any stories or references to any of those other artists, as well as to an impact that they've made on you?
Yeah, very much so. I was a big Crowded House fan in the mid '80s. I even had a flat top haircut at one point to try and mimic Neil Finn's haircut.
Awesome.
And I saw them heaps between 86 and 1989. I saw Slaidins and Crowded House together at the Music Bowl one year, and that was just like life-changing gig. Yeah, and I've had an affinity with the Finn brothers' music since I was a teenager, and I've been very fortunate to have met them both and collaborated with Tim on a couple of things. And Neil and Tim's songs are always they're just part of a classic song catalog now. Like they've gone beyond, um, you know, geography and sort of chronology. They've gone into classic territory now. Like I watched a clip last night of Crowded House doing "Hole in the River," and it's like, my God, I remember this song when I was a kid, but it's just so poignant. And same with Tim's "I Hope I Never." I heard that on the radio the other day. So this song is a fucking masterpiece. Like,
Really
yeah, and just the enduring catalogue of Crowded Houses just speaks for itself. I was very fortunate this year that at the start of last year actually, in the Paul Kelly band, we recorded at Neil's studio over in Auckland, and it was nice just talking with Neil as someone in his studio, not as some sort of crazy super fan teenage weird kid with a flat top. Yeah,
he's
but
kind of.
no, go man.
I was going to say he's kind of like up there with McCartney, right? As a and I think Paul McCartney rates him incredibly highly. Like he's otherworldly. With it, his melodies are just so effortless, and
Yeah, and enduring. Like they're yeah, that I mean the love of the Beatles, it does seep through the songs. It's
mm.
but it's hard enough writing one good song, let alone 4 albums worth of good songs, or 5 or 10 albums, however many they're up to.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, speaking of classic material and working together and writing and melodies, you know, how would you describe, the partnership between the two of you as the two guitarists in the church?
I think it's pretty fertile, pretty and really cooperative. Like we're all of us are used to being in bands with more than one guitar. Like Ian, probably more so than myself. But now that we have Jeffrey's been in the band since 2017. Is that right, Ian?
Yep.
So we've got three guitarists in the band, and we kind of have an unwritten symbiosis, if that's the right word, amongst the three of us, where we have an idea, but we're not trying to sort of railroad anyone else into playing a certain part. Sort of everyone comes up with a part that's complementary, or it's
we have that sort of problem, which is, it's not a problem really, but this happens regularly where when we're listening to, because a lot of these pieces are written on the fly. If they're not like an actual jam, they're sort of something that we work on for half an hour and then we go, okay, let's do a take of that. And then you listen back later and it's like, is that me or you? And you don't know who's playing what, because we might have actually switched guitars. So the labeling on the tracks, it sort of says Ash, but you know, Jeffrey might be playing through Ash's gear and I'm playing bass and whatever. And so it's sometimes it's hard because it's not that we're have similar styles. I just think that in the guitar architecture of the church, you've really got to sort of listen to each other and find a place, and not just to fill in holes. It's just kind of, it's the interweaving of everything that makes it sort of trancy and that sort of thing where when you're playing, it's like a whole thing happening. So, and you sort of lock in and forget what you're playing because it can be quite repetitive, but I don't know. I think that's what the church sort of was for me too. Just the combined, like Marty and Peter was such an incredible two guitarists, and so I don't know. We've got three people, and it's sort of, it doesn't mean that it's better because there's three. It's quite often difficult to sort of, you know, make sure that you're not, I don't know. So we end up sort of, you know, Jeffrey used a lot of Mellotron pedal sort of stuff, and I don't know. It's just, I don't think any of us have ever felt like others are treading on their toes, or I don't know.
I think Ian you kind of summed it up there. Like if one of us is playing acoustic, the other one might play electric, or vice versa. You might sort of subconsciously search for a completely different approach to a song. If something's sort of taking hold in the studio, I might say, well, I'm only going to play single notes every bar, once at the end of every bar or something. Sort of like Ian was saying, like it's, you're building music. You're not really there to sort of wail over it or impress yourself upon it. I mean, obviously you want to make a mark and you want it to be special, but in a three guitar band, you have the luxury of not having to play all the time and making sure that what you play does sort of fit in with what else someone else is doing. And that's the recording process it's a real what's the word I'm looking for, in not gestation, but you're developing ideas. You're not sort of saying, well, it's not set in stone. A lot of the songs were born out of extended pieces
or something. But,
yeah,
I mean, that's the wailing thing. I love just sitting back and listening to Ashley wail because he can do it. And
well, everyone can. It's just a matter of giving yourself, making sure you're on the right length leash.
Yeah, exactly. And then also we've been dabbling with guitar harmonies, which is fun. And some of the old songs, which we will be playing, some of them I would imagine at Red Hot Summer that do this. Because there's quite a bit of overdubbing going on the original recordings. There are harmonies or octave parts or whatever, so it's really fun sort of nailing those parts. That because we've got the three people, we can do that. We can cover some extra things and just make it sound like an orchestra, or try to.
That's a good point, Ian, because now we have the luxury of three guitars. You can get to parts that sometimes two guitarists might not have been able to get to. But that's the beauty also about being a new member, and three of us having not, it's like relatively recent additions to the band. The new material is uniquely our own, like Ian's stuff that he had done, and then Jeffrey's and mine, bringing our sort of collective approaches to the new music, and it's a pretty exciting thing being able to play a song you've been a part of and then play a classic song from 40 years ago in the same set.
Exactly. And Kilby's bass playing is really, like, I don't think many people realize how damn good he is at playing bass. Like, his lines are incredible, and somehow he manages to sing while he's doing it. Not many people can do that.
No.
He's a beast.
There's an incredible amount of talent in the band, and that includes you two guys as well. I mean, through both of what you've done, Ash, what you've done with Even, and Ian with what you've done with Powderfinger in the past. I mean, songs and stories to so many parts of my life in different places. So, and that continues with the church too. So, congratulations on everything that you're doing there.
Thank
One
you, Andrew.
last question. Playing outdoors on a big stage, how different do you think that's going to be for you guys? Because you've mainly been sort of theatres and so forth the last few years. Are you looking forward to playing out on a big stage?
Yeah.
Can I answer first? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I am. My first gig with the church was an outdoor stage in St Kilda in Melbourne, and we did the Milwaukee Festival a couple of years ago. So we have played outdoors. Yeah. Over to you, Ian.
Well, the Blues Festival was pretty close to one of your first ones too, or was that Nick's first one? So Nick,
that might have been Nick's. Yeah. So we haven't given a shout out to Nick and Tim in this interview.
Well. Yeah, there's two drummers. So Nick has started doing the main role on the tour you saw. He would have been doing that, and Tim is playing sort of percussion and doing synthy stuff and a lot of singing, because just the way it turned out, because Tim had broken his foot and he couldn't come on tour a couple of times, and
he broke his arm. Poor bastard. So and he had a knee reconstruction.
Comedy of errors, really. But anyway, so the outdoors thing. And we did Cruel World in
Cruel
LA.
World 2 days. That was awesome.
That was really good. So it's great. It's sort of, you don't feel like you're as in control of the environment, I guess, when it's daylight and everything. So hopefully the songs speak for themselves, and we're not relying on smoke and mirrors, that's for sure. But
and you get to wear sunnies without looking like a total wanker.
Exactly. Yeah, got to choose our sunnies carefully.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're out of time. We could talk for ages on this stuff and dive a lot deeper, but thank you so much for your time, both of you, and thanks for being a part of the Rockpit, and look forward to seeing you guys do your thing, not only on the Greatest Hits tour as well as the Red Hot Summer shows.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Been great talking. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. See you, Ian.
Bye.
See you, Andrew. Take care, fellas.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.